All right, welcome everyone to Ms. TV Total Football. We've got the Real Madrid fan Advait in the house. We're going to talk about Real Madrid. We're going to talk about Ancelotti. We're going to talk about Thomas Tuchel. We're going to talk about what is going on with Real Madrid at the moment. I mean, yeah, the La Liga is not looking great. You see, Champions League, they're the kings of the Champions League. There's no doubts about that. First of all, Advait, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, Miss. It's been a couple of days since we did the watch along on the other channel for
Yes.
the for the draw, and now it's good to be back on your second channel where you seem to be covering a lot more football, which is always great to see. So it's an interesting topic. I have a lot of things to say about it, and I can't wait to get started. So let's go.
Brilliant, bro. Brilliant. Yeah, man, I really, really enjoyed this second channel. I hope everyone is enjoying it. It just allows me to talk about a lot of other things. I enjoy bashing Spurs on a regular basis on this channel. I've spoken about Barcelona. I was going to do something on Gavi, but maybe I'll do that later on. But Real Madrid. I mean, Advait, let's get the show rock and rolling. This is what was tweeted by Fabrizio Romano literally just a few minutes ago. But apparently, this particular news was out last night. And it goes something like this, Ederson. I spoke to Casemiro, Vinicius, and Militão. There's a big possibility that Carlo Ancelotti is going to become the new coach of Brazil. We will try to eliminate Real Madrid so that Ancelotti can come to Brazil as quick as possible. I mean, the cheek of this guy. Like, what makes him think he's going to eliminate Real Madrid? First of all, we are the ones playing Real Madrid. If anything, we're going to eliminate Real Madrid, and then we're going to eliminate Manchester City. And they have one big boy Bayern Munich to worry about as well. But look, that obviously is a little bit of banter. But Advait, how much truth is there in regards to Ancelotti's future? There seems to be some concerns. Obviously, lost the El Clasico a few days ago. Apparently, this is the third El Clasico loss for the season. And coming second in La Liga. Let me just quickly show you. I mean, I'm pretty sure you know this table very, very well. Barcelona, 12 points ahead. Xavi, the new dog, the new student in the house, and that's a sizable amount of gap. And I feel like probably nowhere return in regards to La Liga at the moment. Are they? What's going on? Is there a chance that Ancelotti perhaps could leave at the end of this season?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, with Edison, I mean, they first need to eliminate Bayern Munich. That's the biggest thing in their way before thinking of eliminating us.
I hope
So
Bayern Munich knocks them out. I really do.
yeah, of course, that would be great. It would be a great matchup. So first they need to do that, and then think about eliminating us. And they can eliminate us only if we eliminate Chelsea. So
Exactly.
it's a whole knot there. But coming to Ancelotti, I mean,
Mm.
you're right in saying that La Liga is pretty much finished for the season. That's how I look at it. 12 points gap. There is no way we're gonna catch Barcelona, especially with the league form that they've been in. It's
Mm.
somewhat like the opposites, right? So we've been poor in the league, but really good in the Champions League, and
Yeah.
Barcelona have been absolutely atrocious in Europe. I mean, they got knocked out of the Champions League group stage, they got knocked out of the Europa League, but they've been really good in the league.
By the way,
And even if
Europa League playoff, Advait. Europa League playoff.
exactly,
Not
yeah,
even like the normal stage.
yep.
The playoff, they got knocked out.
Yeah, then they got knocked out there. So they've been absolutely atrocious in Europe, but they've been really good in the league. And they've been in the past few games, especially, they've been squeezing out those 1-0 victories against smaller clubs. And of course, the El Clasico loss was just it is just a confirmation that La Liga is pretty much finished. I mean, 12 points gap. And it is true that we have actually lost three El Clasicos in a row for the first time, I believe, since 2012. So that's
Wow.
the first time since I think it was the last time a Barcelona manager did this was, of course, Mr. Pep Guardiola.
Pep
So
Guardiola. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so I think there's a real chance that Ancelotti leaves Real Madrid. I feel the unrest in the fan base as well, because the second season syndrome has pretty much struck Ancelotti. It happened in his last spell as well, where we won the Champions League, and then after that we seemed to fall off. And there have been some reports saying that, you know what, the season can be saved if we somehow again start bad in the Champions League and try to win the 15th.
Wait, is that true?
Yeah,
If you win the Champions League, I mean, you got Chelsea to face, so calm
yeah,
yourself down. But I'm just saying, like you're one of the favorites. I'm not even gonna lie, you're one of the favorites. Obviously, you're the defending champions, and as I said, kings of the Champions League. Is there actually a chance if you do go on and win it? Let's just say, for argument's sake, Ancelotti still stays. Because for me, not winning the La Liga, like that's considered as a huge failure. Like coming second is not like a great
yeah.
attribution because pretty much you're guaranteed to come either first or second. But if you come second, it's like somewhat seen
Yeah.
as a failure in La Liga.
True, true. I mean, I feel like, as you said, I mean, the La Liga is a pretty important step in the season, but I feel like there have been reports coming from within the club that, with the whole La Liga, the whole situation where we've had discrepancies with the referees, we have had like,
Mm.
issues with the organization itself. They're somewhat, I feel they value the UCL way more than La Liga. And I mean, of course, that is the most important thing for us because we have won it a record 14 times, and we somehow, even if we don't do well in La Liga, we somehow have that, a fire in the Champions League, which is why I'm pretty confident about our game as well, even though our league form has been poor. But honestly speaking, I mean, even if we do somehow, have a decent enough run and maybe even win the Champions League, I
Mm.
don't really want to see Ancelotti for a third season because
Oh
that would
wow.
just be that would just be hiding the cracks. That is somewhat what happened last season as well, because our
Mm.
board thought that, you know what, we've won the Champions League, we won the league. Our squad is perfect. I mean, you don't need to do anything. But then,
You guys didn't
yeah,
spend anything. You really
we
didn't
just
spend
we just
anything
bought
in the
we
summer.
just bought in Chouameni,
Mm.
which was pretty much, the only signing apart from Rudiger, of course, who came on a free. So
Mm.
we try to, it is somewhat like papering over the cracks where you think that, okay, we won the league, we won the Champions League, maybe the squad is good enough, we can roll with that. And that is exactly what I fear would happen this season as well, because if you look at our squad, we have clear deficiencies with fullbacks
Bro,
and
one of the biggest one is Carvajal.
Carvajal.
Carvajal, what he did in the El Clash, bro. Talk to me about this player, bro. What he stopped running. He stopped running. Like, is it
You know,
because of age or is it because what is it, man? Like,
it
I've
could
never
be
seen
age.
this.
Yeah, it could be age. It could be the season where had to deal with a couple of injuries, where his fitness has not been good. But either way, I mean, we are Real Madrid. We need to have backups in each position and
Mm,
quality backups. We have good, reinforcements in midfield. We've done that all this while with the likes
yeah.
of Kamavinga, with Tchouaméni, and attack. I mean, it's still, that is where we also lacking a right winger, especially with a specialist right winger. We somehow play Rodrigo and Valverde there. One for Rodrigo prefers the more of a second striker role behind the
Mm,
striker, like as a 10. So he
yep.
isn't really that right winger kind, and Valverde is of course a midfielder. So we're trying to do makeshift stuff at the right wing where we clearly lack a quality right winger or just a quality attacker. I mean, I
Mm,
don't want to get into the whole Mbappe thing, but we just need a quality attacker. And I feel like the club, being the club we are, that we have been able to reinforce the midfield so well. I feel like we should be able to do that with the fullbacks and the attack as well. So the basic point is that even if we do something in the Champions League, I feel like that would end up being a problem in itself, because we would be again,
mm.
being under the impression that, oh, okay, we won the Champions League, we don't need
Yeah,
any
the
more
squad's
signings,
good
which,
enough. The squad's
yeah,
good
I
enough.
mean, that's going to give the board even more freedom to just chill around, which shouldn't be the case. And I feel like Ancelotti, especially in the league, we've been like clueless at most times, and the main problem with us has been with the clubs that play a low block. We
Mm,
simply seems to struggle against them, and that is also linked with the fullbacks, because if you have quality fullbacks, they can make that overlapping runs, and
Yeah.
they can
I
put
mean,
in
look at
good crosses
Alejandro
in the
Balde,
box.
by the way, for
Yeah,
Barcelona. Oh,
yeah,
he's
it has to be said.
sensational.
He's a quality player, and we need someone like that. Some quality fullbacks because they can actually unlock low blocks, and that's been the problem with us throughout the whole season. So I don't want Ancelotti to be staying for a third season. You know what? He's a legend of the club. He's an absolutely
Mm.
quality manager, one of the greatest in my books. But he should call it quits, and he has an offer from Brazil as well. I think it's a multi-year deal, so we'll be getting on to that as well. So I think he should just take it. Honestly, we need a fresh start.
And this is exactly what I want to talk about. I guess what you're trying to say to me is that Ancelotti, in terms of cup competition, is still elite, has the mentality to win cup competitions. And this is probably why he's linked with Brazil, and we'll get to that very soon. But the league is a different beast, to be able to play solid for how many is it? 38 games as well in
38
La Liga?
games.
Yeah, 38
Yep.
games. And for someone like Xavi, who's still he's a rookie, right? But he's master, like he's really schooling Ancelotti in that department. And I think Xavi, and I said it when Xavi took over Barcelona, that I think this guy's going to be a huge thing. I know in Europe he hasn't done the trick yet. I'm sure sooner or later he'll get that done. But the way he's tackled the La Liga, wow. Let's talk about this Brazil situation now before we talk about Thomas Tuchel links. Um, yes, this thing, Ederson, that is speaking. I mean, I've never seen a particular player come out and say stuff like this. I spoke to Casemiro, Vinicius, and Militão. There has to be some truth around this situation. Then there's obviously this one. Tchouaméni has lost his place with Ancelotti. I don't know how much is this. Is there any truth around this as well, Advait? Is
Yeah,
there any in-house issues?
I wouldn't say there's any truth to that. I think it's just the media trying to, uh, you know, make
Create a bit
a
of a narrative.
situation out of nothing. I feel like it's
Yeah.
just a blip in form, and he's also been injured for a couple of weeks. So the fact that Kamavinga is starting over him is just purely because he's been in a good run of form, and Chomani is just coming back injured. So I don't think there's any
There's
truth to that.
no truth to that. Carlo Ancelotti on his future. This is coming from Fabrizio Romano's page not that long ago. The club has to decide. I'd really love to stay at Real Madrid for my whole life, but it's impossible. I want to continue here. If they want me to stay for 3 months, I'll enjoy 3 months. If they want 3 years, I'll enjoy 3 years. Before we get to the Thomas Tuchel situation, this Brazil thing, Advait, I was shocked when Brazil got knocked out from the World Cup. I mean, the caliber of team that they have is criminal, bro. That wealth of talent. They could literally field 2 teams, Advait. They could field 2 teams, and both those teams will probably reach semifinals of the
True.
World Cup. They're that like it should. Advait, for me, it's not a surprise that someone like Ancelotti is getting linked to Brazil because one, I feel like Ancelotti, if anything, when it comes to cup competition, he's still number one. He's so good, and with the quality of players that Brazil have, pretty much a lot of the players that he's managed anyway. Vinicius Junior is there, Eder Militão, Rodrigo,
Rodrigo, Casemiro.
Casemiro. I think even Richarlison in Everton, he might
Yep.
have managed, and a
True.
few others. I'm pretty certain. I mean, this makes sense that he's is there any truth behind it? Is there a particular offer that's out there for Brazil? Have you seen anything?
I think it's true that there has been an offer with Brazil. There have been pretty credible sources from the Brazilian media as well that have reported that. Uh,
There's that Brazilian account that's well
yeah.
known on Twitter. That particular account's going around putting wink emojis and
Okay.
look emojis. I feel like there is something going on.
Yeah, I think there's an offer on the table for Ancelotti, and it is somewhat like a backup. I feel like to the media, he keeps saying that I want to stay at Real Madrid, I want to stay here. But I feel like if the club were to make a decision on him, and he would say, "All right, it's time to go," I feel like he just has that offer at the as a backup. It's something like when you're trying to switch companies in your career, you want to have a backup before putting your papers down, right?
Before
So
you resign
yeah,
from your
before you
current one.
resign. So I think this is somewhat like that, where he has offer at the back of his drawer, and then he's just waiting for the club to make a decision on him, and he'd be happy with either decision. So I feel like, as you said, he's an extremely good manager when it comes to cup competitions, where
Yeah,
you have the knockout stages and all that, because he promotes that style of play which is not positionally rigid, and also able to maximize the qualities of the players that have.
correct,
So Brazil
correct.
has a lot of quality players like Neymar, Vinicius,
Yes.
Rodrigo. The list goes on. So
Yeah.
if you're gonna put them in certain positions on the pitch where they might not be of complete utilization, I think Ancelotti does that well, where he gives positional freedom to the players, and that is why I think Brazil are targeting Ancelotti. They're looking for a manager who's one for good at the cup competitions. I mean,
Mm,
and two, also good with giving that positional freedom to the players and letting them express themselves on the pitch.
true,
So,
true.
and that is why I think in the league run, where that is
It
where
doesn't work out in the
Xavi has,
league.
yeah,
It just
that
doesn't
is where
work out in the
Xavi
league.
has somewhat got the number on him, because he's
Mm,
been able to kind of figure out where we lack, and over the last 3 games at least, he's been able to get the better of us. And that is something that again comes down to the fact where Ancelotti just needs to call it a day here, because we do now need a next phase where we need a manager, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it
mm,
further on, and we need a manager who can impose uh, some sort of tactics and some sort of unlocking of the game where we are trailing behind, especially with against the low blocks, and especially against Barcelona, who have that rigid structure between them. So we need a manager who can unlock that as well. So that is probably why it would be better to part ways with Ancelotti now, now more than ever. I mean, at the end of the season, because we do need a change there, I would say.
no, I agreed, man. Agreed. Let's now talk about this change. Obviously, I agree with you. I think it absolutely suits Ancelotti to take over the Brazil job, and I think Brazil probably benefit from it as well. Ancelotti's record in regards to cup competitions is just immense, and as you said, when it comes to cup competition, it's not really about so much about tactics. It's about just being a little bit more pragmatic, I suppose.
Yeah,
As you said,
true.
maximizing the talent that you have. But whereas in a league, you do need to have a system. You do need to have some sort of a style. You need to, because that is what will get you through, a philosophy, basically. Advade, now that Xavi looks like he's in for a long run at Barcelona, is potentially on the way to winning his first La Liga in his first season as Barcelona manager, which is a huge feat. I think Real Madrid will try and get back into this, and would like to get a manager that they can sort of have for a long period, look at a longer project, someone to build around the future with. And in comes this particular man, Justin, a few days ago. Thomas Tuchel is learning Spanish to target Real Madrid. He's probably one of the best managers that is unemployed at the moment and going around in the market. For me, this guy, man, you know how I have the utmost respect, like the level of football. I know it didn't end well for him, and I know the football at the end wasn't looking that great. But I wish there was a little bit more time given for him to change things around. But our owners didn't want to deal with it. They had their own vision and whatnot. But I won't forget that Champions League run under Thomas Tuchel, where we reached you guys as well. And even last season at the Bernabeu, he almost did a madness as well. I mean,
Almost, yeah.
is this the manager, Thomas Tuchel, that you feel, with the players you have already, and maybe potentially with him coming in, all the stuff that you talked about, the fullbacks, the attacking areas, is he the manager that you could potentially have to build the future with and compete against Xavi head to head? Or are there other managers? Because there are other names that are getting floated
Yeah,
around. I just
there
recently
are
saw
other names.
Pochettino. I'm not really sure what
Yeah,
his name is being touted around there.
the problem
Mourinho's name
is,
was
yeah,
thrown around. But yeah,
yeah.
what's your thoughts on Thomas Tuchel, man?
Yeah, if you ask me, I think he is the perfect fit for for right now at Real Madrid with the players that we have. I feel like last season, I mean, even in the league, we won it because I feel like the other clubs weren't as good as us. Barcelona weren't as good as they were in the league as they are this season. So I feel like that again papered the cracks over basically the whole point about you know we won the league, so there's no point in reinforcement. So coming back to the manager point of view, I think Thomas Tuchel is my first choice.
Mm.
I know there have been four or five managers in the media. One is Raul, who is the coach of
Bro,
Castilla.
surely not. Surely
Surely
not
not.
Raul. Not one of these
I won't be
legends of the club.
surprised. Yeah, another
How is he
legend.
as a manager? How much do you know about Raul? How is he as a manager?
I watched. I watched. I mean, I haven't watched that much, but I watched some of the statistics and some of the stuff around Raul, and I feel like I think Raul is definitely good with the Castilla part of stuff. Our academy where he's been good with managing some of the youngsters, but I really don't think he's able to take that next step, which is a big leap to the first team, which is I think a bit of a too big of a leap as of right now. I think still needs to develop as a manager, and that's the same with Xabi Alonso as well. He's doing really well at Bayer Leverkusen, but I feel like
Yes. Yeah.
he really needs to get another maybe another season or two to really develop as a
Yeah.
manager before taking
Too
that
early.
big
Too
leap.
early for them.
Yeah,
Too
it's
early.
it's the same. Yeah, it's too early for him. And the other name is Pochettino, which I mean, it just doesn't make sense in any way or form. But for some reason, Florentino Perez seems to like this guy because he's he seems to have that ability to promote and develop youngsters, which he did
Mm.
partly at Southampton and even at Spurs. But
Spurs as well.
come
Yeah.
on, I mean, after Spurs and especially after PSG, his stint there, I mean, we are a club about winning trophies, and you
Yeah.
need to win every single season to be able to get that validation from the fan base. And I just don't see Pochettino on that level. Maybe he might be able to prove us wrong if he is appointed, but I really wouldn't want to see him as a manager
He doesn't
of
feel
my
like a
club.
Real Madrid manager to me, man. It just, I
Yeah,
don't know, man.
it
Just
doesn't
smells
seem
of
like
bottle
it.
job to me. Smells of Spurs bottle job.
Yeah, and there have been reports that Real Madrid are in this phase where we hired Ancelotti only to um, work with the players that we have, and then eventually we were going to hire someone better, like some a project coach or anyone who can develop the youngsters. And that is where Pochettino's link actually comes in, where
Mm.
he's supposedly good at developing youngsters. But honestly, I wouldn't want to see him there. And the ideal choice for me is Thomas Tuchel. I mean, um, I've watched people come to the myth that he's only a defensive coach because of the three at the back that he did at
Nah.
Chelsea, which is absolute nonsense, because I've seen some great attacking patterns at Chelsea, and I've also seen some incredible uh, uh, attacking patterns even at PSG and also
Mm.
at Dortmund, where he did exceedingly well. So I don't get this notion of him being just a defensive coach. I think he's done really well, and he's basically the only coach that has been able to handle the likes of Mbappe, Neymar, and co at PSG and actually develop a good attacking style of football. So he would be my number one pick. And I feel like with the players that we have, he did. I mean, let's be honest. At Chelsea, the players weren't really the thing that stood out to me
Mm.
when we faced you guys. It was mainly the manager. I mean,
The
I
setup.
swear to
His
you. I
setup.
mean, even
Yeah.
the second leg, I swear to you, I mean, we were two goals up, but I was not confident, and it was none of the players that phased me. It was not even one single player that phased me from Chelsea, but it was Thomas Tuchel, because I know he would come up with something, and he nearly did.
And he
So
nearly did.
that
He
is,
nearly
he
did.
nearly did. So, and with the play quality of the players that we have in our squad, I feel like he can do wonders. So he
I
would
think
be
he
my
would
first pick.
relish. He would relish Vinicius Junior. He would relish Benzema. I think he could potentially play a sort of like a. A lot of people think he might go with a back three with Real Madrid. I don't necessarily think so. He could potentially just continue with the back four. You've got quality midfielders. You've got quality DMs. All he needs is just really, really good fullbacks and maybe one right winger. Um, I think he can cook, man. I really do think he can cook. So,
And Perez won't let him play a three at the back anyway. I think that'll be the first thing before he even signs the contract. That, brother, you are not looking at any three at the back at Real Madrid. We are a 4-3-3 and four at the back. That's the that's the main philosophy behind us. You cannot do any three at the back stuff. So I think that is pretty. I mean, the jokes apart, I think that is pretty much what it's gonna be. I think it's clearly gonna be a four at the back, and if he were to come, and I think he's perfectly capable of coaching that. He did that at PSG. I saw that 4-3-3, and it
mm,
was he came all the way till the final and all that. And you know what, with the players that we have, with the stuff, with the quality we have in midfield, especially, I feel like he can really put a do some damage with it. But the only thing, the question mark is the board gonna consider him? And I have a feeling that they might not, and which would be really disappointing.
wow. You don't think the board might consider him? I mean, who would the is Pochettino the front runner? Is that what's happening in Madrid news?
I feel like there's a Zidane angle of stuff as well. But
Mm,
you know what, a third stint would be a bit much. He even left in the second stint because he didn't have the confidence of the board. So
yeah.
I wouldn't really want to see him in a third stint at Real Madrid. But I think he seems to be a name on the books, but I don't know if it's completely true. But I feel like the names that are really again coming out of Real Madrid are, which is unfortunate, is that Raul and these guys, Xabi Alonso as well. So I Tuchel seems to be a name on the book, but I don't think it's a serious thing as of now. So I really hope it changes. And mainly because I feel like our board looks at the way Tuchel parted company with his previous clubs, and they somehow
Mm,
think that, you know what, it
could be
kind of
bad
might
news.
be, it kind of leaves a sour taste in the mouth. But there have been reports denying that as well. But I do feel that Perez is gonna look at that, the way he parted ways with PSG, the way he had the way he didn't get along with Todd Bowley and parted with him as well. So I really hope he doesn't. But hey, come on. I mean, the average amount of time a Real Madrid manager sticks around is about 2.5 years. So I think that would be. I think if you were to bring in Tuchel for that long, that would still work. And then maybe later on, if Xabi Alonso is ready, let's go for it. So anyway, I
Mm.
really want to see Thomas Tuchel here. That's the conclusion from me.
No, fair point, man. Fair point. For me, it makes sense for Thomas Tuchel, but Xavi Alonso is a good shout as well at Fade. Just too early now, but as you said, if he continues with Bayer Leverkusen, does something important with Bayer Leverkusen, they are in the Europa League still, in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. So we'll see how far Xavi Alonso goes there. If he can keep continuing rising in the Bundesliga, we'll see what happens. But you're
He
right.
even beat
One
Bayern
more.
Munich over the weekend. He even beat
Yeah,
Bayern
it
Munich.
was a really, really good victory. So, I mean,
Yeah.
this is a team, Leverkusen's a team that was in the relegation zone when Xavi took over. So, for
Yep.
them to come through like this and beating Bayern Munich and still being in the Europa League quarterfinals, I think it is important for Xavi Alonso to stick around for one more season in the Bundesliga. And maybe in the future that Real Madrid job could be lined up. But yeah, Advait, thank you so much for your time, my man. Last but not least, before we let you go, we'll always have to ask you this. One, Eden Hazard is still at your football club. I mean, even with the new manager, is there any hope for this particular brother to get any sort of opportunity for Real Madrid, or it's lights out? And even Tony Cruz recently in the comments in social media said he's got no pity for Eden Hazard.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he's still at the club and he seems to have no intention to leave. I think he has one more year in his contract. And yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is, I mean, we have been extra patient with him, especially with his injuries and all that. But come on, I mean, now you just have to get to a point where it's time to move on. I mean, he's also on massive, massive wages here, so that would free up some of the wages as well. So, and Tony Cruz, as he perfectly said, I mean, it's not like he has all the facilities here. It's not it's there have been players who have gone through worse, and so that's why he seems to have no pity as such. But the 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 common thing about from the dressing room is that he's a lively guy and all that. But come on, I mean, on the pitch, he just doesn't get his opportunities now because he occupies that same position where Vinicius Junior occupies. And then even if he were to play as a 10, I don't think he would, really be in the plans of Ancelotti at the moment. So I feel like I don't see maybe a new manager also really making use of him. But let's see. I mean, anything can happen. So let's see what happens in the summer, if he were to leave or were to be in the next manager's plans. But yeah.
Fair point, man. Fair point. Advait, thank you so much for the time. Your Wi-Fi went mad at the end, but we got there finally. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of you upcoming fixtures with Real Madrid, watch-alongs, previews, reviews, the lot. Ladies and gentlemen, please smash up the like button if you've enjoyed this. If you're here for the first time, subscribe to Miss TV Total Football and leave your comments in regards to this whole situation. Ancelotti perhaps getting sacked. Is that the right thing? Possibly going to Brazil. Is that the right thing? And, for Thomas Tuchel, is there a chance Real Madrid, or is he not the fit? Let me know. Let me know in the comment section. Until next time, everyone. Take care. See ya.